All right, we are going to take a tour today. It's not going to be a fun tour. I'm not going to lie. This is not exactly touring UNESCO World Heritage sites and amazing architecture and sites and views and these different things, landscapes. This is going to be a tour through madness, quite frankly. The world is increasingly horrified by the anti-vaccine madness happening across the United States in media, at school board meetings, at rallies, and at other places. Now, many of you would rightly point out there have been anti-vax elements in many countries around the world, and you would be right. But the combination of the United States being one of the countries that first had access to as many vaccines as we could possibly want, and being one of the largest and most powerful countries in the world, combined with the degree of wide-ranging anti-vaxxerist insanity, is getting a lot of negative attention for us. It's humiliating. It's embarrassing that this is what the United States is being known for. So let's start the tour. First, there was an anti-vaccine mandate march in New York City. And these are anecdotes. We're just dropping in. Here's one guy who says that the mandates are Orwellian and like Nazi Germany, which is, remember, we did our story last week. Anti-vaxxerism and COVID conspiracies push people towards anti-Semitism. One element of that is the trivialization of the Holocaust, because vaccine requirements that you can test out of, or like if you want to work here, you should go and get a vaccine. Otherwise, you're going to have to test or leave. That's not what the Nazis were doing to the Jews. OK, very, very different.
To say we do not comply to what's going on with these mandates. You know, this stuff is Orwellian. It's totally Nazi Germany type stuff. And so, we're just done with it.
Right. It is not Orwellian, and it is not Nazi Germany type stuff. It's just not. This same guy was, again, we don't know who this guy is. Just it doesn't matter is the point. This is a guy, a random anti-vaccine activist who's been infected with this stuff. Of course, connected all of it to the Democratic Party and said, this is all about what the Dems want, make you weak, make you dependent, destroy the country. This is a widespread narrative among the right. Take a look.
The Democrat platform is founded on this garbage. It's founded on destruction. It's founded on making us weak, making us dependent, making us, just destroying our country.
Right. So the destruction of the country narrative, make you weak, make you dependent on the government, likening to Nazi Germany, which is a trivialization of the Holocaust. It's checking all the boxes. And most of the world and more than half of the United States sees this and says, do these people not realize how humiliating and embarrassing this is? This is absolutely wild. Then, just going to something totally different, here's Naomi Wolf. Naomi Wolf is off the deep end. I don't know how many of you are familiar with Naomi Wolf. When I was in college, there would be many classes where we would see clips of communications courses. We would see clips of Naomi Wolf making interesting critiques and analyses. She seems completely off the deep end. And she says the only people ever subjected to mandatory vaccinations were slaves. What, Naomi? Yeah, that's what she says.
Coercing people to have a vaccination. We've never had that in the United States in our entire history, unless you were an enslaved person.
Now, that's not true. I have no idea where Naomi Wolf gets that idea. But right now, all 50 states plus DC mandate immunization for a number of conditions to go to public schools, diphtheria, tetanus, pertussis, polio, measles. There's a long history of vaccine requirements. Some of these things are so stupid that you don't even really know what they mean because it's so obviously untrue. But now Naomi Wolf is being held up as some kind of oracle by some on the right, people who, by the way, would never listen to Naomi Wolf ever before. Very, very strange. Then we go to a California high school teacher. This is now going to the school board part. So we've done rally, anti-vax rally. We then did right-wing media. That was like the War Room, or, you know, one of those Real America's Voice, the thing Steve Bannon's on, and we heard from Naomi Wolf. Now we're going to school board. Here's a California high school teacher who says he will fight the mandate no matter what what happens. He might lose his job because he answers to God and his wife. Now, his wife may be anti-vax. I have no reason to believe that if God exists, God is anti-vax. I'm still not really aware of any religion that's just flat out no vaccines. Let's take a listen to this guy.
I'm willing to fight this mandate for my family and my community. If it means I lose my job, I'll be able to sleep at night knowing I stood up for freedom, and I am certain that history will say that I'm on the right side of science as well. I only answer to God, my wife, not the government.
And look at the cheering and the fist pumping and the USA chant. It's actually hard to think of anything more anti-American than what that guy is doing. I mean, truly, truly. Now we will go from a school board meeting. Remember, it's a tour through the insanity. We're now going to the floor of the House of Representatives. Here is Congressman Long with some very strange comparison between the military requiring vaccines, and I think he's talking about new Coke. Take a listen. See if you can figure it out.
1886, a product was brought online, Coca-Cola, and it remained one of the most popular products of all time until 1985, 99 years later, and they came out with a great idea, new Coke.
Right.
Problem is, new Coke was a terrible
That's the problem.
idea. And 3 months later, they brought back what they call classic Coke because of this terrible, terrible idea that had to be fixed. Making our military be vaccinated against their will is a terrible, terrible idea that needs to be fixed.
Now, the funny thing is, it's not a new idea. There have been vaccination requirements in the military for I don't even know how long, for a really long time. They're just adding the COVID-19 vaccine, as happens when new vaccines are developed. They get added as requirements for the military. The really funny thing is it's nothing like new Coke, actually. I don't want to go on a whole tangent. In business school, we did a case study on new Coke. New Coke is a really interesting business case study, actually. There was also another one, I think like Pepsi Clear. It tasted like Pepsi, but it was transparent. And I think that also failed. In any case, very interesting business discussion about the history of new Coke. The analogy to a vaccine requirement for the military, simply not there. This is really interesting. So then on Fox News, they talk about a clip of CDC Director Rochelle Walensky saying, we need to educate people about the vaccine so they become comfortable going and getting it. They need to learn about the vaccine. And Fox News acts as if what she's talking is about re-education, alluding to re-education camps and dictatorships. But Rochelle Walensky didn't say it. Take a look at this.
Mayor de Blasio has warned city workers if they don't get the vaccine by Friday, they will be put on unpaid leave. And now the CDC is planning to, quote, educate those who are hesitant to get the shot. Here's CDC Director Rochelle Walensky.
We believe it is very important to get these people vaccinated. There is a plan, should these people not want to be vaccinated, towards education and counseling to get people the information they need so that they are feeling comfortable in getting vaccinated.
Vivek, something about the phrase re-education.
She didn't say re-education. You notice what they did there? She didn't say re-education. She just said, we've got to educate people about the science of the vaccine.
And get these people on board seems pretty strikingly similar to a really tragic chapter in our globe's history. I
don't know if she's talking about slavery or the Holocaust. It's not even clear what she's referring to, but it's crazy. And then they build on this. They just continue building on it, even though Rochelle Walensky said, we've got to educate. And the host says, re-education, whoa, and they just keep going.
Harris, part of what is so troubling is the notion of that, again, the reprogramming in education, where
she never said reprogramming. They came up with that out of thin air.
You are automatically branded an enemy. You are automatically branded, frankly, a criminal in some sectors if you dare to even question, if you dare to to expect what we were promised in the.
So you get it. They introduced the term re-education, which Rochelle Walensky didn't. And here is Tomi Lahren saying she's so proud of people standing up against this.
I'd also like to say this. When we see this protest in Brooklyn and we see these workers standing up, when I saw those images, nothing made me feel more proud to be an American, because I saw Americans of every color, every shape, every size, every gender, and probably every political affiliation standing together in the name of freedom. That's American as it gets.
Yeah. So you guys get the idea. An absolute humiliation globally for the United States. It's everywhere. It's on right-wing media. It's on the floor of the House. It's at rallies. It's everywhere. And I don't think it's going away anytime soon. Let's now talk about something opposite this when it comes to vaccines. One of our sponsors is privacy.com. They're giving you $5 when you sign up for their completely free service at privacy.com/Pacman. I've been using Privacy for a little over a year now. You've heard me talk about it before. It's a lifesaver. And here's how it works. Takes just a couple of minutes to set up. Anytime you buy something online or on the phone, instead of actually using your real credit card number, the Privacy app and the browser plugin let you give each company a randomized virtual credit card number that you create out of thin air. It'll even autofill the card number with one click. And the payment is taken out of your checking account without the merchant ever knowing your real information. So this allows you to keep your banking information secure, but also to take control of your finances. You can create up to 12 of these virtual credit cards a month. You can set spending limits. You can freeze them. You can delete them anytime you want. So when you do this, it means you're not going to be charged when you don't want to be, because you can destroy the virtual card number right after using it, which, for instance, I love using free trials because I know I won't be charged when the trial is over if I use a virtual credit card number. You're keeping your identity private by not telling companies who you are. You're keeping your bank or credit card info protected against data breaches and identity theft. And it's free. There's no catch whatsoever. But if you want, Privacy also offers a $10 a month plan that gives you 1% cash back and lets you create 36 credit cards a month, and a $25 a month plan tailored more for small businesses where you can create 60 card numbers a month and much more. But definitely go ahead and at least get started with the free plan. You'll protect your financial info. Companies can't charge you unexpectedly. And like I said, you'll get $5 to spend when you sign up at privacy.com/Pacman.